There was a moment in his life when everything went quiet. Not peaceful quiet, heavy quiet. The kind where your phone stops ringing, your inbox stays empty, and you start hearing thoughts you've been avoiding for years. At 27, he thought he would be further ahead. Not famous, not rich, just stable. Instead, he was sitting alone in a small rented room, staring at a ceiling he didn't own, wondering how things slipped so far without him noticing. He had done what he was told, went to school, got decent grades, chose a safe path, but somehow life still felt unfinished, like a book stuck in the middle with no clear next chapter. Every night, the same questions came back. What am I actually good at? Did I miss my chance? Is this all it's ever going to be? He didn't talk about it much. From the outside, he looked fine. And that was the problem. People assumed he was okay, so no one asked deeper questions. And when no one asks, you start pretending too. Until one evening, something small happened. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just honest. He tried to explain his situation to a friend. Halfway through the sentence, his voice cracked. He stopped talking. And in that silence, he realized something uncomfortable. He wasn't afraid of failing anymore. He was afraid of staying exactly the same. That fear stayed with him. The next day, the next week, the next month. It followed him into work, into conversations, into moments where he laughed on the outside and felt empty on the inside. So he started doing something strange. He started paying attention. Not to success stories online, not to motivational quotes, but to himself. He noticed when time passed faster, when hours disappeared without effort, when he felt curious instead of tired. It wasn't obvious at first. Sometimes it happened late at night, reading about topics that had nothing to do with his job. Sometimes it happened while explaining ideas to friends, just because he enjoyed breaking things down. It wasn't a plan. It was more like listening. And listening was something he had never really done before. One night, he wrote a sentence in a notebook. I don't know where this goes, but I know where I don't want to stay. That sentence didn't change his life, but it changed his direction. Instead of waiting for confidence, he decided to move without it, slowly, quietly, imperfectly. He stopped asking, will this work? And started asking, what happens if I try? Most attempts led nowhere. Some felt embarrassing. Some felt pointless. But something unexpected happened along the way. He began to trust himself again. Not because he was winning, but because he was showing up. For the first time in years, his days felt connected. Not exciting, but intentional. And that made all the difference. He didn't know it yet, but this was the hardest part. Because starting is painful. You see your limits clearly. You confront how much you don't know. You realize how long the road actually is. Many people stop here, not because they fail, but because progress feels invisible. He almost stopped too. He almost stopped there, right at the point where effort started to hurt, where progress felt invisible and motivation came in short, unreliable bursts. There were days when nothing worked. Days when he questioned why he even started. Days when going back to the old routine felt tempting simply because it was familiar. But something had changed. Before, he avoided discomfort. Now, discomfort felt like proof that he was moving. So instead of quitting, he adjusted. Smaller steps, lower expectations, more patience. He stopped chasing results and focused on consistency. 1 hour a day, sometimes less, sometimes badly spent, but never zero. Weeks passed, then months, and slowly something subtle happened. People started asking him questions, not because he was successful, but because he spoke with clarity. He didn't pretend to know everything. He explained things the way he understood them, simply, honestly, without exaggeration. That honesty became his advantage. Opportunities didn't arrive dramatically. They arrived quietly. A message here, a small collaboration there, a chance to contribute, not to impress. It still wasn't glamorous. He still doubted himself, still compared his progress to others, still had moments of frustration. But now, those moments didn't stop him. They passed, and that was new. One evening, while looking back at his old notes, he noticed something strange. The questions had changed. They were no longer, "Am I good enough?" They became, "How can I improve this?" That shift mattered more than any external success, because it meant he was no longer negotiating with fear. He was working with reality. Years later, someone asked him what changed everything. Was it luck, timing, talent? He thought about it, and then he said something simple. "I stopped waiting to feel ready." That was it. No dramatic breakthrough, no single viral moment. Just a decision repeated enough times to become identity. Looking back, he realized something important. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they expect confidence to come first. But confidence is not the cause, it's the result. Built slowly, quietly, through action. If you're listening to this and feel stuck, here's the truth most people won't tell you. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need permission. And you don't need certainty. You need movement. Even small movement, especially small movement. Because staying still feels safe, but it costs you time. And time is the only thing you never get back. The path forward is rarely clear, but clarity comes after you start walking. Not before. And somewhere down that road, you'll realize something powerful. You're not behind. You're just at the part of the story that most people quit.